Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling, and hope you guys are doing well, and really appreciate y'all making some time out of your day to spend with me on the video today. And guys, we're going to be talking about boat rage today, and I have got a video I want to share with y'all about. You guys may have seen it about this charter boat captain that just freaking went absolutely just crazy and jumped in this kid's boat and threatening to beat him up. You guys may have seen that, but I want to comment on that video a little bit, and then comment on the bigger picture of basically boat rage and rage on the water, rage if you're going to the lake, just people that lose their temper in and around fishing, because this is something that's like, if you fish, you're probably going to experience this to some extent at some time, because guys, there are some unstable people out there, and I really want to give you guys some tips and advice on how to deal with that in today's episode here. Also, guys, before we get started, I want to share with you guys one of my favorite April and May lures, jerkbait lures, and that's a big jerkbait like this Megabass Kanata. Guys, this is a 7-inch jerkbait here, and you guys hear me talking a lot about different sizes of jerkbaits at different times of the year. Guys, try this big old giant Kanata in April and May. Get out on some like Main Lake and Creek bluffs and throw this thing parallel to those bluff banks if you got water visibility over 3 feet. And guys, it's a great way to catch them, man. Channel swings, any type of a steep bank, really good way to catch them. I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description to the Megabass Kanata. And this is my favorite color. This is the HT Tennessee Shad here, but they got a bunch of different good colors, so appreciate you guys checking that out. Okay guys, I was going to share this clip in this video with you guys, but I decided not to, because it is just a profanity it's a profanity laced rant with dropping F-bombs right and left. So I'm going to link the video in the description so you guys can check that video out yourself, but I don't want to put it on there if some kids are watching it or something. But what the deal was in this is, there was this, he looked like a teenager or something. They were fishing down somewhere in Florida on some type of intercoastal waterway, and they got into some type of a disagreement. This kid was fishing and this charter boat captain was out there, and it escalated and it escalated and it got more vitriolic. And this charter boat captain named Brock Horner, guys, this dude is done, man, after I tell you this. Anyway, he just freaked out and he jumped in this kid's boat and was threatening to freaking beat him up. And it is like a disturbing video to watch, and it pissed off everybody that saw it. This guy there's no doubt his charter boat captain business is over. He's probably going to get his life threatened. He's probably going to have some criminal charges simply because he just freaking lost his temper with this boat rage incident that he had. So that's aside from that particular video that I'm going to share here, I want to comment on this bigger picture of this boat rage type of stuff, and the individuals that sort of are responsible and perpetuate this and how to handle it, because they're out there. They are, guys. It's like, if you fish long enough, you're going to deal with somebody like that. It could be a dock owner, it could be somebody that you meet on the water, just whatever, somebody at the launch ramp. I mean, sometimes, guys, you'll do something like at the launch ramp, you may not even be aware of it. You may have like backed wrong or something, and just a completely honest mistake. And there's dudes out there that'll just flip out on it. And it's the same with on the water. So you never know what you're going to encounter. It's just like somebody, if you're driving downtown and you're going 2 miles underneath the speed limit and somebody goes by and flips you off. It's just people like that, just a-holes. So I want to give you guys some tips and advice on how to deal with this, some do's and don'ts, because I've ran into this myself, quite a bit over the years. First of all, there is no reason ever. There's no excuse. There's no reason whatsoever for somebody to, go off like this and just completely freak out. I have no patience for that, because that's one of the reasons that, I got into competitive fighting when I was in my 20s. Is I got bullied a lot in junior high school, in the early part of my high school, period. So, I got sick of bullies. So, I learned to fight, and that's one of the reasons that I have no patience for this at all. I have no respect and no patience for people that bully other people, or hotheads in general. And I don't think most people don't. Most people just can't stand to be around them. I want to give you guys some tips and advice on how to deal with this. Now, if you guys have ever watched, I don't know, probably a lot of you have heard of Jocko Willink. Jocko Willink. He's a retired Navy SEAL, and he's sort of a social media personality now. And he combat veteran. He's Brazilian, black belt in jiu-jitsu. And the guy looks like a monster. If you've ever seen Jocko Willink, he literally looks like the most scary dude in the world. He's freaking huge. He probably knows 100 different ways to kill you. Just a very intimidating individual. And I heard him in a podcast one time talking about how to deal with people like this, road rage. And so he was talking about road rage at the time, but I'll equate it to boat rage. It's like you walk away. He goes, it doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter how skilled you are. It doesn't matter anything like that. You de-escalate the situation. If somebody drives past you on the road and flips you off, just wave at them and wish them a nice day. If somebody comes up and starts, cussing you out and mouthing you, just walk away. If somebody starts, just doing whatever to you, just walk away. Don't de-escalate the situation at all costs. But once somebody touches you and once somebody puts their hand on you, then the rules change and it's a completely different game. And that's what I want to talk about here in today's video. Now, a lot of these people out there that perpetuate this boat rage, and the people that, you know what I'm talking about, guys. You've seen them, these loudmouths that, they don't have any discipline. They don't have any self-control. The slightest little, anything that they perceive as being a slight against them, they just freak out and go off and start cussing. I know you guys have seen that. In this particular situation, those people do not understand the danger that they put themselves in. Because when you see that video, guys, look, that video that I'm going to link in the description here, let's create a different scenario that could have happened here. You got this Brock Horner idiot that basically is threatening this kid with his life, jumps in this kid's boat, and this kid is pleading for this guy to stay away from him and get away from him. Now, the law states you're allowed to use deadly force if you feel your life is being threatened or somebody else's life is being threatened in front of you. This kid in that boat had all the right in the world to pull out a freaking 45 or 9mm and blow this Brock Horner away because he was in his boat. If that guy had stepped in the wrong boat, he'd be having his funeral this week instead of having everybody being the most hated fisherman in the world right now. Never underestimate that, guys. If you are one of those guys that are a hothead and you are trying to instigate, you're threatening to beat somebody up, or you're freaking out on somebody on the water, guys, don't be a statistic. If you want to go home and see your wife and family at night, then you better be very careful about how you handle situations and how you mouth other people, because there's a lot of people out there, I can assure you, that will not put up with it. They got a concealed weapon. If you put them in a situation where they feel their life is threatened, there's a definite chance they could just blow you away right there, and you'll wind up, on the 6 o'clock news, never seeing your family again. You have to think about that. And guys like that Brock Horner that went off on this was obviously just, completely out of his mind with it. And the repercussions of violence and anger and people that cannot control their anger, what happens is they get so overwhelmed with their emotions that they don't understand what the ramifications of their actions will be. Because I can assure you guys, confrontation never goes well. I don't care what happens. If you escalate something to the point of confrontation, it is always bad for everybody involved. And a lot of people that have a bad temper and are bullies and that are like these guys that like the dudes that flip people off when you drive past, if they drive past you and you've done something, or people that just can't control their emotions and get mean and angry and violent, guys, it always turns out bad for them. Let me tell you one story here. It's sort of a good example of what I'm talking about how people don't understand the ramifications of being mouthy to other people. Is my dad passed away. Loud lightning I hear it now. But anyway, my dad passed away about 3 years ago, and about a year after he passed away, I saw one of his buddies that he'd worked with for like 35 years at the gas company, and we were talking and everything, and he goes, and they were good friends and everything. He goes, Randy, he goes, I got a story about your old man I want to tell you. And I go, well, sure. And because he'd worked with him forever, and my dad was a supervisor at the gas service company, so he would, like the gas lines that you see, like they're digging alongside the road, he would supervise like the construction, stuff like that. And he always had a crew working with him or under him there. So anyway, this friend of my dad was telling me that about probably, 25 years, ago, when my dad was in his 50s, that they were out on the job working. And anyway, that the company had hired this new guy. And this new guy he was like super big, super mean. He was like 6'6", 300 pounds, bad temper. And apparently this guy was just like giving everybody on the crew a hard time. He was like just a bully. I mean, just a straight up bully. And anyway, he quickly became where he didn't like my dad, because my dad was a supervisor, and my dad was a blunt guy. He's pretty gruff. He's German, half German, and he just didn't put up with any BS. And anyway, this big guy didn't like my dad. My dad was an average sized guy. He was probably 6 foot, probably 185 pounds, and this other dude's like 6'6", 300. So anyway, this friend of my dad, he was telling me, he goes, and my dad never told me this. I didn't know anything about it. My dad never told me this story my entire life. It was his friend telling me this. He said, he goes, Randy, he goes, one day, he goes, I can't even remember the bully's name, but anyway, this guy went up to your dad right in front of the crew here, and he goes, Blaukat, I'm going to kick your ass right now. And he goes, your dad looked at him, and he goes, well, you might do that. He said, but you know what's going to happen? He said, after you do that, he said, maybe probably a couple days, a week from now, he goes, you're never going to see it coming. He goes, when that lead pipe hits the back of your head, he goes, it's just going to go black. And that guy looked at my dad, my buddy or his friend said, and he goes, never said another word to your dad again. He said, actually, they became friends after that. So that is a situation that could have went really bad based upon the way that somebody handled it. So don't ever assume that when somebody exhibits boat rage on the water, I don't care if you're a dock owner or if you're a bass fisherman that's mouthing somebody, you have to really step back and you have to analyze and think about the consequences of your action. If you threaten somebody, I don't care what, verbally, physically, or something like that, you're putting yourself at danger, and you're putting the odds of you ever seeing your family or your loved ones at danger again. So I'm not saying it, not 99% of the people out there understand what I'm saying here, but for that 1% of the people out there that are like this Brock Horner dude and the big mouthy types that are always threatening people and flipping people off out there, I would highly suggest that you go to some anger management courses, because it's not going to end well for you. If you're one of those people out there that have a bad temper and have a problem controlling that temper, that's probably the best thing that you can do and get past that. Because most people like that, like this dude, or most bullies in general, they've got some deep-seated issues. I've been around them, guys, and I've got to know them, and a lot of people, it's a product of their upbringing and a product of their environment. I really believe people are inherently good. And it's like when somebody turns out like this, where they turn out to be mean and violent and vitriolic and just a bully, physical or verbal bully, it's usually because of some, upbringing issue. It's something they had in their childhood that manifests. And by talking with people about that and going to therapy, people can go a long way into healing. And normally that comes with age. It's like there's a framework of when people are between 20 to 45, that they tend to be like that. Most people tend to mellow out a little bit when they get older. But anyway, I wanted to pass that along with you guys. Don't put yourself in a position to, do things that you're going to regret. And just try to de-escalate. Just like what Jocko Willink was saying. It's like you can run away, you can walk away, you can remove yourself from the situation. Don't let your ego, get you in trouble with that. If you got somebody that's giving you a hard time and mouthing you, just walk away. It's not worth it. that way you can go home and see your family that night, and everything is fine. But don't let your ego, do something that's going to cost you or you're going to regret down the road. So anyway, guys, hope you all are well. And like I said, I'll link that video in the description here if you want to check it out, and we'll talk later.